Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we'll be reviewing this Land Rover Defender Trek Edition. This Defender eats Wranglers for breakfast. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Land Rover here in Lehigh for giving me some time with this Defender. I'll include a link to their website in the description down below. Also include a link to my carbon guide. By the way, if you have any question on the Land Rover product, just ask for Bradley. Let's get into it. Under the hood we have a turbo 2-liter 4-cylinder that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 18 around town, and then 20 on the highway, with power outputs being 296 horsepower and then 295 pound-feet of torque. This, in my personal opinion, is the only downside with the Trek Edition, is they decided to build it off of the 2.0 Defenders instead of the 3.0 Defenders. And as I'm closing this, you'll notice that this is actually a black Defender and that the white satin is a wrap. Before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So, like I just said, this has a satin film over the entire Defender that gives it this cool white satin finish, which also has Trek logos. They're probably not going to pop up on camera very well. You got the checker plates, and then important stuff with the Trek, we have a winch integrated with this. And again, this is all factory package. It's on the window sticker. You've got protection underneath as well. And the front end of this looks so cool. Now our tire and wheel setup is actually pretty solid. It is 255 by 70 by 18 on the front and over in the rear. So that would put these tires at 32s, I think. Roughly, I might be wrong with that. But anyways, they're aggressive all-terrain tires. You got the giant fender flares with this little Trek logo there on the side. These are step sliders, so they're rock sliders, but then they also function as side steps. You got the extra storage. That's just a Land Rover factory option. Roof rack, and then you actually have additional lighting up top with this as well. And then you can see a little protection there in the mirror, so if you go against brush or anything, it's not going to destroy the mirror. And with the all-terrain tires, this thing looks pretty cool, if you ask me. And then this actually has a ladder on the back to access the top. You can get the Defender with the factory ladder down below, but then you notice that they put a traction board up there, so that's a little bit different. The spare matches all the other tires, and then you can still use a swing gate like normal, so it doesn't get in the way. You can see, being a 110, you got plenty of storage space. That's just for the winch there in the back. Really cool setup. I'll give you guys this view as well. Would you look at that? Now I do quickly show you guys the interior. It's just kind of like a loaded up Defender. So you got like the digital gauge cluster. Don't have the biggest infotainment system, but still a decent unit. And you got nice seats here as well. And I'll actually quickly pop in so I can show you guys. It's kind of the look there. This does have the air suspension. It does have the rear locking differential and the low range. There's not a button for the rear locking differential because it's automatic, but yeah, there's a button for low range, of course. And I don't think this one, yeah, this one doesn't have the refrigerator center console. Now this Trek Edition definitely does not come cheap. This is built off of a 110S, and the Trek Edition package itself is an extra $26,900. $94,775 is the total MSRP on this. Let's see how it performs. Defender Trek Edition. Let us see how this performs, and let's talk about some more traditional off-roaders and why there is, or where there are rather, some benefits to something like this over, say, a Wrangler or a Bronco. First off, not a fan of the 4-cylinder. I ain't gonna lie, I am just not a fan. And this was built out with Lucky 8 Off-Road, which Lucky 8 Off-Road sells a caliper conversion for the 6-cylinder Defenders to put 18-inch wheels on it. So I think that Land Rover should just do that as part of the Trek Edition and then do it with the Inline 6. This 4-cylinder is not the worst engine ever. It has to work. This is a big vehicle, and it has the extra weight added on with the kit. And so it has to work even harder than before. So it's just something to consider. Ride quality is fantastic. This is the first thing that the Defender has over a Wrangler or a Bronco. It is much more comfortable with the ride. And the handling is a lot better on road as well. And the seats are more comfortable. And the interior is a lot bigger with the space. So it's just a more daily drivable car. Now there are some downsides with that off-road. It's a bigger vehicle on the trails, heavier vehicle as well. But on-road, it means that you can fit more stuff and you can fit more stuff comfortably. And it's just comfortable. Like, I owned a Wrangler for 2 years, and I owned a Bronco Raptor for, gosh, I think I only had that for like 6 months because I got so sick and tired of how that performed. So yeah, they're loud. They're not all that comfortable. Even the Bronco Raptor with fancy Fox shocks, not all that comfortable. And this 4-cylinder isn't bad. It's just, when you drive the 6-cylinder, like, you understand, like, it's just so much better with the performance. Yeah, those vehicles are a lot noisier, and you do get some wind noise with this. It's not bad though. And then just driving all around, it's easier, like, even though this is a bigger vehicle than a Bronco or Wrangler, it's actually easier to park because of how direct the steering is, and the turning radius is pretty darn tight as well. And the air suspension smooths everything out. And these tires are pretty darn aggressive. You do get some noise from them, but the suspension's still comfortable. Now, being unibody, when you go over bumps, body and frame, right, it goes into the frame, and a little bit is transferred in the body. Unibody, it goes through the unibody. So you do get a little bit more. In off-road, you can hear the vehicle flexing and all that, right? It's rigid. And that's one downside about this compared to a Bronco or Wrangler, being more rigid. So you're gonna get less articulation off-road. But Land Rover makes up for that with a fantastic traction control system. And again, I'm like 99%. Yeah, it has a rear locking differential. So this thing can really work through stuff that you would not expect to be possible. I took, when we had a Defender, I took it off-road, and I just had the stock tires on it, the stock all-terrains that are not nearly as aggressive as these. And I was shocked at how well it performed. The stuff that I was able to go up, it was very, very impressive. I would say that Land Rover's traction control system and Toyota's newest system they have, like in my 250 Land Cruiser, are pretty much on par. They're really, really good systems that they don't even need a, like, this has a rear locker and my Land Cruiser has a rear locker. You don't really have to use them, pretty much. Unless you're super tippy articulated. So overall, the Defender does get a lot of crap in the off-road world, right? Because of the unibody construction, the independent suspension. Land Rover's computer wizardry works around those inherent downsides with this as an off-roader. Those inherent downsides are big upsides on-road. This is a much better on-road vehicle, and so what I see this as is, if you're want a vehicle that you can daily drive very comfortably, that is never going to annoy you. And again, even though we had some some things happen with the Defender, when it came to the actual drive, right, it was never annoying like the Bronco or the Wrangler. The Wrangler and the Bronco, you get tired of the noise and the ride quality. This, you never, it's comfortable, so you never get tired of it. And then when you do go off-road occasionally, yeah, there's some downsides, but like, as long as you're not doing like crazy Moab type stuff, most trails, you don't even need this level of capability, frankly. You could do most trails in just a, you know, base model Toyota 4Runner without any sort of, just with four-wheel drive low, right? Most trails, you have four-wheel drive low and all-terrain tires, you can get through them. So this can do most off-road trails, and it's a different off-roading experience. What I'll say with the Defender is you just drive off-road at a slower pace, so you kind of enjoy the scenery more. So if I were to take a Defender off-road, I wouldn't pick, like, you know, Hell's Revenge type trail, although I've seen Defenders can do that kind of stuff. I would just pick like a, up in the mountains, I would pick one of those like scenic kind of like Forest Service trails and just kind of enjoy the scenery, and know that if there's like a mud pit or something that comes up, well, I've got the traction control system and the tires and clearance and everything to go through and not get stranded. So let me know your thoughts.